Okay, welcome to Fahrenheit Performance Podcast, episode number 24. Today we have Cyril Bedat. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, don't worry. Yes.
He's the Tri-Daddy, the CEO of Purpose Performance Wear and Simply Active as well, right?
Correct.
I first found out about you about a year ago when you took over these companies, and ever since, every single time I open Instagram, I see your friendly face. So you seem to be everywhere at the moment. It's great. It's good to see that these companies are getting a lot of exposure. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Cyril, and a bit about your background?
Sure. But first, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
One of first exercise on a podcast for me, so
Okay, sure.
pretty fun to do. So thank you again for inviting me. It was nice to hear from you. So yeah, I'm Cyril, 42-year-old uncle, from Switzerland origin.
Age group triathlete, I
Age
guess it
group
is.
triathlete uncle. I have 3 years left before being a bit more competitive on the next age group.
And I think that that's a myth because everyone in your age group is still going to be in your age group when you get older anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just hoping for some of them to be
drop out.
bored or whatever, or try a different sport, or
Yeah.
go 100k mile,
Or choose ultra distances or something. Okay.
yeah. But originally from Switzerland,
Mm-hmm.
despite my accent. Not from France, nearby,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously grew up in Switzerland, and ironically didn't took the sport at all when I was living in pretty much probably the best conditions.
So cycling and
To cycling, run, and even
Elevation,
swim right in lakes or like Le Mans and all of this kind of stuff.
So you've been involved in Purpose and Simply Active for about a year.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
But what were you doing before that? I heard that you were working in tech.
Yeah, so my previous experience was in SaaS, in tech. I basically helped a software working with big e-commerce retailers to optimize their traffic from organic search, so SEO, search engine optimization. So basically working with clients like Zalora,
Yep.
and Sephora, those kind of
So the big boys.
the big boys, I would say, on the e-commerce space.
Yeah.
Bukalapak in Indonesia, with millions of pages or thousands of product pages, and helping them to manage organic search for their website from both a content point of view and a technical point of view. So it's quite complicated to actually do it right. And the solution that was created it's a French tech, and basically via joint venture we came here, and I was basically helping the team to set up operations in Singapore. Had a very good idea to quit my previous life in the advertising agency in January 2020,
Okay.
when COVID just happened.
Nice. Okay.
But before it got close, it was 3 years. 3 years in that role, scaling up in Singapore, in Japan, and in Australia now. And before that, I was in advertising for quite a long time, which
Yep.
is also what I think makes my collaboration with the founder of Purpose
Yeah.
quite nice. Is because I had like 5-6 years in the agency world. I was more on what we call the suit world,
Yep.
both a bit strategist and account experience, working with creative people.
But having
So-
having that background is going to help you a lot, right? Because you understand how the website's going to work, you know,
Yeah.
where to go, who to be in front of.
So. I hope so, but yeah, I'm generally, that's probably why I love triathlon. I'm a very good generalist. I also, studied political science when I was in Switzerland, and
Yeah.
I think that's really worked a lot for me, because you're not a politician, you're not an economist, you're not a sociologist,
Yeah.
you're not but you understand, or mathematician, but you understand enough of those topics to be able to put and
Yep.
connect the dots and do something with it, and just what I like to do. And then after uni in Switzerland, I went to China. So I've been actually living in Asia for most of my career. Actually, I spend more times abroad, my working life abroad, than in Switzerland. I only spent 6 years in Switzerland, 7 years.
Yeah.
After uni,
Yeah.
I was working since I was.
Just like me, I have spent more time outside of Australia in my life now than inside of Australia, which is
Yeah.
There was a tipping point a few years ago where that
That's a
happened.
sign that we are both getting old.
I'm a bit older than you, though. Okay, so then what possessed you to give up that corporate life and just jump into something relatively new and small?
I think the first jump before Purpose and Simply Active, which we'll come to it, I'm sure, is taking that role just with COVID, I was stopping learning. I stopped learning, and what drives me a lot is just to get better, to get a bit,
That's the
drive of
the
youth.
Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality is get a little bit better every day. If you get a little bit better every day, then at the end of the year, you're
Correct. I mean, it's also, I'm sure you've read the book Atomic Habits and stuff, those little percentage of improvement every day, compounding effect of them all are important. But for me, it's just like, agency world is a tough life. You work a lot, and actually, it's very funny. It's horrible people that make me move from one position to another. It's a horrible client that I would not name. That I used to really like what I was doing. I used to work at TBWA, which I loved the agency. I loved the mentality. Because it was more an agency, a bit of a more entrepreneur kind of thinking, the way you deal with your clients in the business. There was always a way to do something a bit, your way. And they gave me the trust to do it. And I'm still friends with quite a few of them. And it's a small industry anyway. So I was in the US. I also was working for them. And I really, really well. But then that client really made me hate my life. I dread to get up in the morning and go to the office. And obviously it started to have an impact on your, on your personal life, right? Because you do work a lot in agencies, so you bring the work back home and the stress at home, and that's something that I'm like, no, I can't do this. It's not worth it. And that's when this new opportunity of being part of a bit of an adventure, of setting up something new from scratch, that really excited me a lot, and an opportunity that
it's somewhat control of your own destiny, right? You're not waiting for anyone else. If it goes well, it's on your shoulders. If it goes badly, it's on your shoulders, right? So it's a different world, right? It's hard to explain to people from the corporate world where it's very comfortable, that the entrepreneurial world or the small business world, it's very, very different.
It's very different. It's also very hard to be fair. So everybody, there's a lot of people, and I'm sure who are listening. Well, like, I would love to do this.
So it seems so glamorous, right?
It's glamorous.
You're at expos all the time. You're at every race. You wear the clothes all day long, right? But it's never as glamorous as it seems.
No, but nobody forced me to do it. But it doesn't make it easy. I love what I do, but it's also asking about purpose. So after 3 years in that adventure, actually, we're coming a little bit to the end, and the business was also. I mean, we were doing very well, but disagreement on the strategic direction that the company needed to take, and I was the guy in Asia. A lot of them were sitting outside of Asia, and in my point of view, not understanding what needed to be done for the serenity of the business, and then started to go a bit difficult in the relationship. And that's when Noor from Purpose actually reached out. Actually, I met him first in July 2021 in Desaru, and we started to chat. And because triathlon started to be part of my life before I left for the US in 2017. And we talked again in I think November of 2022, when he posted on LinkedIn. I remember.
He's looking for
looking for someone. He was telling the story online, and I saw that, and I'm like, first, because I was starting to get a little bit disillusionized with my previous experience. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do that on the side. I can help him. It's my passion. I love it. I'm sure I can help him, and I can cope with that thing. During the day, put the head down and do whatever you need to do to provide for the family in a way. But that's never been me. And then that other side would have to be like, the passion project, but that makes you able to cope with the rest. Right?
It's like I remember back about the same time. I might have told this story before, but every Friday night I used to drink beer, or I'll have a drink with or two with Noor. Just near his place, and I think that was a time that it was sort of a turning point for Purpose, where it was an established brand in Singapore, but COVID had hit, so like every company was struggling. So she was just trying to work out where the company's going to go, and he knew he didn't want to do your job, because that's not him, right?
No,
and he needed someone to do that job, because he was doing it and forcing himself to do it, because it was almost like a one-man band right then, right? And then we're talking about what he should do and what he shouldn't do, and then a few months later, you pop up, and then ever since then, I've been seeing you everywhere.
I mean, put my heart, soul, not just mine, one of my whole family actually into it when you do those kind of things. And actually with the project we have with Noor, what we want Purpose to become, it's definitely not a 2-year roadmap. And you know, he was talking about that 2, 5, 10-year thing.
Yes,
in that
yes.
thing, I'm like, well, mate, sorry to tell you, my friend, we probably went back a couple of years.
Yes.
You're gonna have to stay a
Regressed.
little longer to that, because in my mind, like COVID really almost killed the brand. So in my from a business perspective, it's almost, we're only 2 years old, so he laid the ground for sure. But COVID really, unfortunately, wiped out a lot of the efforts that and the momentum that he created since he started the business. And you almost have to recreate everything, to be fair, because as he said, right, he was alone. He had to let go everyone because nobody knew how long it was going to last. As you said, very much centered into triathlon. So when you don't have any race, you don't sell any tri-suit, nobody needs anything
There's
new.
no expos.
So, but there's no revenue coming in. So how do you survive? How you keep your employees? The fees, the warehouse, and everything like that. No, very, very difficult.
And even if everything goes great and he's selling like crazy, you can't be a one-man band, right?
No, you can't.
You can't scale, you can't grow, you can't do anything if you don't have people to support you and do the stuff that you don't want to do, or to do the stuff that you can't do, especially, right?
Or the one, and I think that's what I remember, maybe the wisdom, I'll call it wisdom, just to give me a pat in the back. Sometimes, you know, I think to lead the team, to lead a brand, or to lead a business, I can do everything, but should I? Should I do that?
Yeah,
exactly. For me, it's the questions that, because I run 2 business, I only have 24 hours and I train.
And you got a family.
I try to be a dad and a husband and be there when I can. But everything it's so much. A lot of what I do is also for them.
Of course.
So it's hard, but I can do this. But maybe is it the right use of my time, or is there a better way to do that?
Well, even if it's
a struggle,
maybe something that you can do and takes 4 hours, but you could hire someone else that could do it in 1 hour, right? Then you're freed up.
or even if that person does that also in 4 hours,
or 6 hours, then at least you got your 4 hours back.
My input of 4 hours to have a conversation and try to, for example, get another partner, another sponsorship deal, or talking to another club and stuff like that. It's probably have a better value for the overall business and the brand than me doing and having but I can do it. I'm the CEO. I can do this. And also with my marketing background, I know I can do my marketing. But I'm trying. If she listened to me, maybe she would not comment. Why you try harder? I'm trying to let really Nicole to lead our marketing, because I come from an advertising background. I've done marketing at LVMH, and that marketing is in a way what I've done a lot of time, and especially in digital. But I'm trying to step away as much as I can, because otherwise, who does the rest, right? And there's no point. Like, you don't win like this, you don't grow like this. So that's been us.
So then, but you're not just Purpose.
No,
you're also Simply Active, right?
That's right.
So I know Brent from Simply Active, and so how did that go? How did that come in? Was that before Purpose or after Purpose?
No, actually,
because it shares the same space as Purpose. And
I mean, there's a lot of that. So Brent, first, is a friend. He's a really amazing guy. Very simple person in a good way. Kiwi. I have yet to meet a Kiwi that is not nice, to be fair. But we were part of the same triathlon group from the cost team.
Collins, cost coaching.
Which I started after I miserably failed my 2019 Langkawi 70.3, because I had no idea about hydration.
So how long have you been doing? So before we get into Simply, how long have you been doing triathlon for? So why did you start triathlon?
So very funny. I'm a good all-rounder. If you like cricket,
I love cricket. My favorite sport.
I'm the first Swiss that you have
met that understands the rules.
Not only understand the rules, but I loved it. When we were in China with my wife, we played cricket together.
Wow. Because she's Indian, right? So she lived and breathed cricket.
Yeah. So she taught me the rules. After when we used to live in Geneva in Switzerland, one of the things we used to do when we didn't have kids at the time, I taught my wife how to ski, and because we're going to ski during the day, and then we went to a pub in front of the University of Geneva where I basically did my studies, called Lady Godiva, and we were getting a couple of pints and not too many because we were driving.
Of course.
But watching, the Premiership was on.
Yeah.
I
World
love
Cup or
sport.
something.
You know,
Yeah.
what actually brought me and my wife together is sport. Is the love of sport.
Yep.
Rugby, actually, tri-nation game. New Zealand against Australia, and I was supporting the Kiwis.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. Like, you know, I'm from Switzerland. We love the little countries that bigger countries like to bully. If you know who I'm talking about. And then we started to, we're studying there, and then there was a cricket game. I was like, hey, okay, Rashmi, can you please? What is this? I don't really get it. And then she explained to me, and then the more you watch, the more you like it. And then when we moved to China together, I started to play indoor cricket during the winter, and then starting to play.
So there's a cricket, like a bunch of people playing cricket in China. That's quite surprising.
Yeah. But there is Shanghai at the time, and it's still today. I mean, actually, I think at the time there was way more expats. But we were playing with Kiwis, Brits, Pakistanis, Indians,
Sri
Lankans, some Bangladeshi, Aussies, of
South
course,
Africans.
South Africans. So there was basically the World Cup that is happening now in Caribbean, T20, basically in Shanghai every weekend.
Yeah.
You used to have to travel a lot with the metro to get there to Pudong and to play for 3-4 hours and doing the nets.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love the game, and so
That's quite surprising.
yeah.
Actually.
So as the analogy of cricket is, I'm a good all-rounder.
Yep.
So I'm never.
So you're not a fast bowler, you're not a pure batsman, you're not a wicketkeeper, you're like
No, I'm shit at all. But
a little bit of everything.
yes, but I'm not very good at anything. But so when I grew up in the mountains, I never played football, but I can play. I can take a racket of tennis and I can take some balls, but I'm not unfortunately not Roger Federer.
Yep.
But that's actually why I started a little bit a triathlon. It's a friend of mine who left the country actually, I think in 2016 or something, and said, Cyril, I'm doing a triathlon, Bintan triathlon.
So you only started
was my
triathlon
first
when
one.
you're in Singapore.
Yeah, which is ironic.
Yes. Okay.
And bicycle and cycling is still my weakness.
Yeah.
And in comparative to the rest of the sport. So
Okay.
when I arrived in Singapore, I was running a little bit. My first full marathon was in Seoul.
Okay.
So when we used to live in China,
Yep.
I trained 95% of my runs indoor on a treadmill.
Oh,
Never went outside.
I hate that.
Because of the pollution.
is that okay?
Yeah. And then we did that. I did my first full marathon. I went on another one. My second one was in Singapore, and then I wanted to do another one.
Why not do 180 kilometers of riding before the marathon? May as well.
Yeah, might as well. But it started more because I used to really like swimming.
Yep.
So when I was young, when I was in France, sport is part of your like
Yeah,
the-
PE or
PE. But you needed to choose athleticism, which was 400 and then jumps and some stuff, or swimming. And
Okay.
I looked at what was the threshold to get the best grades, and I used to go swimming a little bit like that, and I reckon I would have gotten a better grade if I went swimming, and I did.
Yeah.
And my friend who was a swimmer, like proper, like really, really, really good, Julien, told me, hey, Cyril, for someone who doesn't really swim, you're not too bad at it. Maybe you should continue and come with us. And actually, I swam for 2 years. And I went quite okay, my progression. And then I always kept a little bit. I went to the Masters in Geneva.
Okay.
I started playing a bit of water polo.
Yep.
But clearly not exactly the good fit of a water polo guy. But I actually like to goalkeep. So it was pretty fun. And then so I had a bit of background of swimming.
Yep.
And that's actually where I'm the best in terms of the rankings. That
So when you look on the online at the race, it will say first out of 24, or your swimming is always up much better than your running and
always. Yeah. So in Desaru I was fourth.
Okay. And then so that's only been like 5 years.
6 years. So I trained. I got a second-hand bike, a road bike first. In Singapore, train. At the time, TMCR didn't exist.
Yeah, it was Changi Road.
Changi Road with the trees.
Yeah,
right. I remember that.
All the trucks.
All the trucks and everything, building all that road. And then I went to do Bintan, and I just got the bug. I just loved it. But I think the big jump for me was when we left for the US. So my wife got an opportunity to work at Google in the US.
Yep.
So we went. All of the family went. And for a bit of period of time, what I was waiting for my visa, but also for an opportunity, new country, and I'm a big all-rounder on marketing at VMH for a long time, and then worked in agencies. So, and you arrive in the Bay Area, which is all tech, and it has changed a little bit right now. But when we were there, for them, marketing equals growth hacking, which basically is like doing promotions to drive people to a website. I'm a bit sarcastic. But a profile like me was like, never worked in the US, never done in tech, Americans don't really care about your international experience. And the fact that you live in Torino is not exactly, they don't really care.
I'm surprised how many Americans don't even have passports. When I was living there, I actually lived
you mentioned
the same suburb that you were living in
Sunnyvale.
In Sunnyvale, It's surprising how untraveled some Americans are. So you started doing triathlon more when you were
so because from my personal experience, I'm the only one in my family who went to university. So in Switzerland, it's a very different system. In a lot of Europe, you don't have to go to uni to be somebody. You know what I mean? It's not that you don't have to go to NUS or NTU.
It's not credential based. So
not only, right? So if you want to be a professional in one particular, then at 16 years old, you can go and do an apprentissage, it's called, right?
So if you want to be a carpenter,
go and learn the job. You go and learn the job with somebody that knows and is going to teach you. And it's not frowned upon too much that you've not gone a uni, right? So in my family, we didn't. So I was the only one first who went to uni for that. So I didn't know, and didn't have a lot of understanding in my own family how to do that. So I worked since I was 17. So I worked all the time, to live. Also
the hustle.
So it taught me all of that. So obviously you learn a lot during those days. But Switzerland is a really different way. So different parcours. How do you say that? Parcours.
I think lifestyle, different. So you progressed pretty quickly, because you're just telling me that you qualified for KONA this year and for Taupo this year, right?
So
how did you get from newbie 6 years ago?
So when I was in the US for a while, when I was not working, so I was gonna, because since I was 17, I always worked. For when I followed my wife, not having, and then I'm not someone. My team would probably laugh when I said that, and my wife would certainly acquiesce. I can't stand still. There's no way. A holiday doing nothing on the beach. I feel like it's actually anxiety breaks me. So not having anything to do, and
and you're not allowed. Basically, you're not allowed to do anything as well, right?
Nah,
now the working visa. So
I was waiting for it, but even when I got it, when you apply every day and no one comes back to you, no one, not one call, not one email, no nothing. And Workday is PTSD. I hate that platform. When you apply, and you have nothing back, and you followed, and then I was in a very good position when we were in Singapore. I was head of a team of 20 people, generating quite good business for the agency. I was part of the good talent and all of that. And so same at the LVMH, you like shit, I'm worth nothing. I'm never going to find a job. Oh my God. And you start. And I was like, okay, I need to do something. And that's how triathlon in a way was my savior. Because I had
therapist.
It was my therapy. And my first 70.3 was Santa Cruz.
Okay,
which is
just behind over the mountain ridge, right?
Behind. I forgot the
Santa Cruz Mountains.
But I used to train, from Sunnyvale. You go to Cupertino, then you go on the right.
You go Old La Honda. You go to Old La Honda, and then you go to the backside of Old La Honda.
That I miss.
That is Mountain Road.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would say I really miss from. And
then you can get on the backside, and you get a Half Moon Bay.
Correct.
And you go to the bakery down there, and you
that bakery, pretty good.
You work your way back up again down the 82.
Correct. I've done the Grand Fondo there. They've done one, which was pretty fun. So, so that's actually where when I started to really train in a way I would say properly. And I started with a coach who was from the Sunnyvale region. And we started to better understand, and slowly my upgrade in the sport came there. So I upgraded to first a power meter to train with power. I had no idea what it was. My FTP was, and it's still bad, but it was 180. Okay, now it's 260. Still very bad, but it's still, so it's trained better, and then after we came back to Singapore, and then I continued. And once basically Santa Cruz was done, this, I would say triathlon became part of my lifestyle. So we went to KONA, the 70.3. After that, where I qualified luck, roll down, number 14 for Port Elizabeth in South Africa in 2018.
Yep.
Where I saw Jan Frodeno.
So you went there, so you...
Yeah. And I do everything with my kids and my wife. So we, at the time, San Francisco, Cape Town, we took a car and we drove to Port Elizabeth. It's 30-hour flight because we had to do San Francisco, St. Paul, Minnesota, then to Amsterdam, and then
that's
back
one
to
thing
Cape
that
Town.
I don't miss with the travel from America.
Yeah, very long. And then you get better, and then we came back to Singapore, and then I did Langkawi 2019, and I miserably failed because at the time, nutrition, I didn't know it. You take a little bit, take what's on the course.
Yep.
I think I got away with it, but I think Langkawi just I
think the older you get, the more nutrition makes a difference. When you're young, you can do anything, and then nowadays it's like nutrition has come a long way. Even the last 5 years, nutrition has come a long way, right?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot more. There's a lot of new brands, new technology, new. There's a lot of new innovation. Some are good innovation. Some are a bit more marketing innovation.
It used to be all about electrolytes and salt, and now it's all about carbs and protein, right? For example.
Yeah. It is, but there's also the counter element of it's not because I sell that brand, but there's also the fat oxidation process where using and pushing your body to use fat as a source of energy, and then use the carbs when you need it, and to basically decouple the effect of the carbs. Anyway, so yeah.
So back to Simply Active, I guess. You met Brent.
Yeah, so I met Brent from KOS,
and then he just mentioned to you that he was. You're selling, or you?
Yeah, so it was funny. So I studied at Purpose. So during COVID, Brent helped Noor to basically do the warehousing and fulfillment of the Purpose orders, the few that were there.
Yep, I think he was always doing that. They always share that space, right?
And not from the beginning.
Okay.
It's when stuff that got really, really tough that Brent helped Noor out on that one.
Yep.
So when I started the Purpose journey with Noor, I was already in the Simply Active office. And I've been discussing with Brent throughout the years to give him a quick hand and some advice. I've done a couple of analysis on the website, marketing, you should maybe consider this, consider that. Because I was, doing something in sport has always been something that I wanted to do in my life. I just never was brave enough to try something from scratch alone, nor did I had an idea to propel me to do something. Oh yeah, this is amazing. I believe in it, and let's go. It's when when we discussed with Noor that I saw the potential with Purpose that I jumped on, and also when I discussed with Brent about the potential of helping basically to continue to build Simply Active. And because also my previous experience, which was not, the end was not great.
Yeah.
I was a little bit afraid, like, okay, no good reputation. I know the guy, I think we're going to hang out well, but so did I thought as well of the previous people that I worked with for the last 3 years where I thought they were friends. So I'm like,
apprehensive.
A bit, you never know.
Yeah.
So Simply Active almost was like, not a backup plan, but it was a bit of a, just, if things come to shit, at least I don't lose everything.
Diversify your shares, right?
Yeah. But it was not because of that I did it. I really thought there was a lot of complementarity between the two. One is really about building a global sports endurance brand, representing diversity in the sports.
Yeah.
The other one is trying to educate and bring quality brands to athletes in Singapore from a nutrition point of view that just happen to be in the same spectrum of endurance, but Simply Active as a broader...
Because I was thinking about this before. If you're a cyclist, triathlete, or runner, for example, you're going to need purpose, you're going to need clothing, right? And you're going to need nutrition, right? So they both, for the endurance space, especially for those three sports.
So for me, it was also, at the end of the day, it's also about, building a business. One warehouse, you split the cost. We go to expos, you split the cost. When the manpower, you split the cost. You split my time, there's a lot of synergies. And when you're a very small business and you basically, like I don't make a living on Purpose yet. I don't make a living in it on Simply Active really. So, cost, managing the cost is very important. So it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I really was, what Brent built was amazing, and I thought I could build it to bring it to the next stage. And that's what we've done last year.
Okay. So we see you at expos, we see you at races, we see you everywhere, but it's not as glamorous as it seems, right?
No.
Tell me something. I could tell 100 stories about how unglamorous Fahrenheit is, but tell me something about purpose and all this sort of. Tell me your life, what you do that people wouldn't expect.
I think there's a lot of little things that, running a business, it's, the accounts, the constant pressure of, I look at the sales every 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I need to see, okay, are we, money in, there's a lot of money out, but it's this constant pressure of, are we going to be able to survive? Are we going to be able to, to grow? Can we pay the people at the end of the month? Yeah. Even though we are growing well, even though it's the case, but you always have this,
Yeah.
Because you pay your employees first and everything else. And then if there is something left, then you can take some. But so that's this. And then there's, people don't see you asking me when we were preparing that just before. I do a lot of deliveries myself sometimes to save $25 because it's on the way of going home, and I do like this. Not just before I came to you, a friend of mine, that's probably my problem. A lot of people start to know me, and I have friends, and Cyril, I'm leaving for the country in 2 months, in 2 days. I just made an order on Simply Active. I don't think I'm going to make it. And I know those, sometimes I have problem, you never know. I know there's a risk that if it's delayed, and because
it should be there, but it might not.
Yeah, but because I'm an athlete and I know how important nutrition is, I don't want to have, okay, you should have ordered it before, but I'm like,
it's too late for that anyway.
I'm like, I can't help myself, but you know what? Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll go. And I went to deliver to his friends who's going to bring him to. So there's a lot of those that takes a lot of time and energy and
I
things.
think a lot of, so I used to work in construction, and I used to work for big construction companies, like 15 years. And so when you finish the day and your waste paper bin is full of junk, of paper and apple cores or whatever, the next day you come in, it's all gone, the white tables are wiped and everything's fine. But with small business, there's none of these sort of things happen, right? In big business, it's a job for everyone, a job for every little thing, and it's like a machine that keeps running. But for small business, there's like 4 people, and you've got to divvy it up. And these things like taking out the trash or doing the laundry, or it's if it's not done by you, it's not done by anybody.
Exactly. Right? So nice example. One, because we not a lot of people in Singapore, and with purpose, and with Simply Active, we've done a global racing team this year.
Yeah.
And Chinese New Year, delays on production. First race of the year is Oceanside in the US, and then you see the timeline, and you're like, oh God. And then you receive the product. And guess who's done the backing on all of the 110 orders during the weekend?
Yeah.
And sometimes asking my wife to come and help because he needed to go on that day on Easter, Friday. So it needed to be done, otherwise you lose those days.
Yeah, and if you don't do it, you can't get 10 people to do it. You can't do it. No one else can do it, so it's got to be you.
There's that, and then there's also, it never really stopped. But again, it's not like I didn't know that when you start.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of the business. It's not like I didn't know it was going to be hard.
Yeah.
No one is forcing me to do this. I just hope that, with the grind, with the energy, with you really pouring everything into it, that there is a karma in a way that, with hard work, the result will come.
You're laying the foundation.
Correct.
Right? And you're just hoping that the pyramid that's going to be built is going to be big enough, right?
Yeah.
All this foundation. So tell me this, you're training for KONA in October, also training for Taupo in December.
Yeah.
You've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
You got a wife.
Yes.
You got 2 businesses.
Yes.
How much training do you actually do?
12 hours a week.
Wow. So that's quite a lot. So break it up. What's a typical, are you an early morning sort of guy that's out before anyone wakes up, or are you on the trainer late at night, or are you a bit of both, or what sort of?
Depends on what my coach is telling me to do.
Is your coach still Colin or not?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Because after 4 years, I owe a lot to Colin in a way that he brought me to KONA.
Yeah.
But
I got you into the sport pretty much as well, right?
Yeah. No, I studied before that, but he got me into the proper understanding of, the science and, how to build a proper program. And that also helped me to start training my wife into the sport regimen, she's done the first
She's done great, I think.
She's doing awesome.
Yeah.
She always thinks she's not good enough, but she is, and everybody tells her. But I mean, actually, if anybody is listening, please tell her that she's good, because when I tell her, she never believes me. I guess it's husband and wife. No. So he brought me to KONA and everything, but I had an opportunity to work with Emma Pallant-Brown, the pro, via a friend of mine, via Purpose. Yeah. And I thought it was a very good opportunity also for Purpose in a way. So I can get a better understanding as well on how pros are working.
Didn't get Dan Blues. I thought you would have got Dan Blues.
Dan Blues, yeah, but
he's busy enough for it.
I would have loved to work with Dan Blues. He's an amazing and fantastic coach. Coaches like world champions. Quite a few of them, including Jesse Sodaro, the KONA at KONA 2 years ago. But I didn't want to ask him and do me a favor, because everybody has a value, and I can't afford him. And I didn't want to ask him, hey mate, like, come on, you with Purpose, give me. This is not right, because it's his time, and I value everybody's time. And if the value of coaching with Dan is X, then it should be X.
Yeah, of course.
Today I can't afford it, but maybe in 4 years' time I could. Yeah. So my training running is 90% outside, because I don't like really much running on a treadmill. But my biking is 95% inside.
A lot of triathletes are like that, actually.
For a couple of reasons. So I train a lot this the weekend, like my weekends, like Saturday morning or afternoon sometimes. I struggle really to get up early in the morning on Saturday, because I got all of the work, and as a business owner, all the time. Then
if you have a 5 o'clock start, you feel guilty staying up later and later and later and later at night.
Yeah, but it's also, man, like after I literally my kids are going to local schools, right? So you get up at 6:15, 6:30, you drop them, and then I'm at the office after I drop them, so 7:45, 8.
Yeah, exactly like
until at home, right? And then you continue working, and then until 11 p.m. Then you need to rest. Otherwise there's no point. Like, you can't compete if you're too tired. It's not right. So you do that, and swimming evening. After that, I'm going to a CBC to train, for example. I have 4K to do, so I do that. And but my training is a lot indoor, especially for the bike, because I believe I do a better quality of training on the indoor. And then
because there's no jack miles. You don't ride to the start point. Everything will be focused
and safety on the roads. And then I'm not. Yeah, okay. I'm a bit hot blood. I'm a bit more Mediterranean than the typical Swiss German style. I'm actually, if you understand, I'm more Latin in my blood than I'm Germanic. Yes. And I always lose it on the road.
Like if someone comes close to you, I don't cut you off or something. Yeah.
I cannot shut my mouth. I'm gonna go to the guy. I'm gonna bike. I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna knock on the door.
So you're gonna end up on stomp or something.
Yeah,
if you're not careful.
That is what my wife is telling me all the time. So sometimes I listen, and I go indoor to avoid putting me in situations.
Well, if you're not on the roads, you're not gonna get into that problem, right? So you're just removing yourself completely from the potential.
That's right. So, that's one way. So yeah, but that's more right now. When I will train for KONA, I will have to bump up to maybe 15.
Yep.
Because it's not enough. Yep. Right now it's 10, 11.
So 15, let's say 15, right? 15 is roughly 2 hours a day of training already.
Yeah, so twice a day.
Yeah.
I already do a couple of times twice a day.
Okay.
But yeah.
So what's a typical day? So you kind of touched on it already, right? So my typical day these days is I wake up 6, I get the first kid to school on the bus at 7, and then I come straight to come here, 7:20, and then I'm working, right? So just go through your sort of typical day.
Get up at 6:30.
Yep.
Bring the kids in a Tridaddy van.
Nice. Okay.
Drop them to school.
Yeah. Because local schools, you start at 7:15 or
7:30. Yeah, they start at 7:30, but I drop them there around at school at Head Girls at 7:20. And then I take the ECP and I go and drive. And 7:50, I'm at the bottom of a Bukit Merah warehouse. And almost every morning I have my kopi sushudai with my eggs and my toast.
So there's a little canteen there.
Yeah, there's a small canteen. I don't even need anymore to tell to the lady what I want. She sees me, she does it. It's very funny.
There's going to be a day when you just show up and it'll already be there ready because you go there at the same time every day.
Yes. or I go to I call my Malay lady with the
Prata or something.
with the not prata, but sometimes the bihun and stuff like that. So
Yep.
I'm literally at my desk at 8:05 at
Yep.
10 or 8, and then clean emails and stuff.
So full day in the warehouse.
Full day, almost when I'm here, full day in a warehouse. I go down, I eat in literally 7-8 minutes. Like it's not good, but time.
So you just go down, you just
Go down,
something, eat it, go back up.
eat it, and I usually eat almost the same stuff every day. Just because one, I love it. Second, I for me, 10 minutes is important. 10 minutes of training. So I go down and I usually leave around 5:30, 6.
Yep.
And usually I go either for a training session or pick up my wife or go to CBC, swim and stuff, and then go home. And then back on the laptop at 9. I have calls with my partners of the Bureau wetsuit, for example, every Tuesday.
You've got different things going on all over the world, right?
Yeah,
so
correct.
people in America are going to be different one time zone, people in Europe or one time zone.
Yeah. And both, Purpose and then Simply Active. So early morning calls I was sometimes with West Coast or with New Zealand.
Yeah.
With our partners there. So the days are really full, but I do what I love. So
Have you ever thought about it? Is it 50-50, Purpose Simply Active, or does one take more than the other?
no, I think at the moment, to be fair, and also because I have Chris now join me. It's
Pro stealth, right?
from Secret Training.
Secret training, yeah.
So it's because I both business deserve the right attention,
Yes.
and I couldn't have the same level of attention to both.
Yeah.
So I needed a number two, or I needed a really strong partner. The same way I needed a partner for Purpose.
Yeah.
I needed one in a way for Simply Active. Not that I am going to get it. Yeah, I'm not going to step out. But there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of potential, and I needed some help.
Well, Simply Active, so Purpose, like it or love it or hate it, is running triathlon cycling.
Correct.
For the most part. But Simply Active, you could be rugby, you could be table
That's right.
tennis, you could be windsurfing, you could be
that's
anything, right? Anyone that sweats and needs endurance product, right?
Yeah, and then there's so much education to do, and that's what we want to do with Simply Active. We want to try to build a platform that basically, if anyone is doing any kind of activity in Singapore, and they don't really know what to take, they could trust us that we are curating what we think is good brands, good quality brands, and then we explain. We take a lot of time, especially at expos with the clubs, or whenever anyone coming and book it, Mera, I always ask, can I help you? And I take time every single time, try to explain or listen to what they need.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. It's not, I'm not in, if I wanted to sell stuff and get shit out of the door, I would probably do something else. I've not decided to quit that to make and sell people stuff that probably they don't need. That's why every brand that we have, I tried, whether, the foam goggles, for example, before I took them on, I wanted to try them because I don't want to sell stuff to people that I don't believe in.
Yeah, same as me. Anything that I happen to sell in Fahrenheit is something that I would use myself.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what I do. So I tried and I test, and there's a couple of brand gels that gave him. I didn't see, okay, it's very similar to pH or this is the same, so it was a little bit less interesting. So that's why. So at the moment, I would say 70 on Purpose and 30 on Simply Active with Chris, but that's because I couldn't do both. That I needed some help.
Okay. And then KONA is coming up. What are you going to do differently now that you're going to just increase your volume? Is that how you...
Yeah, I'm going to decrease my volume, but I'm also going to try to stop doing expo and race.
Expo before the race.
Yeah.
Like just now you were...
I've done, since I'm in Purpose, every single race that I've done almost, I was on the expo the 2-3 days before.
It sounds like a great idea, right? I'm there anyway. Why not do an
it's a
expo?
lot of synergies.
Yeah, but then you just expos are exhausting mentally and physically. You're standing out the whole day, and then you're saying the same thing over and over again to different people.
I don't know how I qualified in Langkawi after doing the expo for 2 days.
Yeah.
Because I qualified for KONA in Langkawi.
Nice. Okay.
And I did the expo there for 2 days, but I paid a high price in Desaru. I think, it's taxing on the body, running business and everything, and the stress and all of that. And I think my body in Desaru probably told me,
Because you struggled at the end of the race, right?
I struggled not at the end of the race. I struggled in the middle of the race. Kilometer 60 on the bike. I was really doing very well. I was really happy with the things were going. And then suddenly my legs are in the front. I forgot the name of those.
Quads, it's the quad muscle, yeah.
Starting to properly cramp, like block. You know, block.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shoot. So I reduced my speed, but I was on a top 10. Overall, I was on a top 10. Not that I raced, but I went for a game plan.
Yep.
But maybe I was overtired, definitely not rested. Maybe I actually, even though we were setting hydration and stuff, maybe dehydrated or not enough.
From standing up at Expo the whole time.
Maybe, and then at kilometer 60, I reduced my pace. Everybody that I knew, I had like 5 or 6 minute head start, passed me just at the end, including Ningar, who won the race.
Yeah.
I tried to keep up with her, but I'm like, nah, no way, I can't, don't do it.
Yep.
And then as soon as I left off the bike, actually the cramp on my stomach started like kilometer 80 on the bike, a little bit before. And that
it's like a stitch.
It's more than a stitch. Okay. That's what I think. I don't think it was a stitch. I think it was proper. It was really like horrible. Like I couldn't really breathe. It was really, that's why I think maybe that I talked to a friend who said, it's probably not your nutrition. It's probably the body shutting down. You're starting from your legs, because I also started to get back cramp. So it's probably the body telling me, I can't cope with your pace, Cyril, right now. Just stop. Yeah. And my brain was starting to stop. And then when I passed, when I finished the bike, there was my wife and my kids, and the whole crew. I've been in this game now for a year. So you said that you saw me everywhere. So a lot of people now start to see my face everywhere, and I can hear my name and the support, which was really, really overwhelming and very absolutely awesome to hear. But at the same time, I wanted the slot for Taupo.
Yep.
And in my mind, I'm like, there's no way, I can't do it.
You can feel it slipping away from you.
Slipping away.
And if you DNF, there's a no chance.
Yeah. And then when I went to transition, when I see, and then I became quite emotional, like really, like I think I was crying a little bit because I could see everyone cheering me, and my body was like, can't.
You don't want to let them
down. I stopped. I stopped. I went on the floor, and then my wife came, and she really, don't give up. She's mad. She in a good way. She and also, hey, come on, Cyril, and that's why the emotions came, because you want the slot, but you're feeling like you're letting everybody down, all the community and supporting you and trying to push, and I can't do it. It's like, I'm giving up. It was really tough. And then she pushed me, and she literally, I think, ran 10K of the course almost. She went we went freaking flip flops, telling me.
So she's really a number one fan.
Yeah. So basically, I'm like, I really.
So it's just pure adrenaline by that stage,
it's right? Pure adrenaline. It's also like I can't give up. But in my mind, there was a moment where really it's horrible. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not gonna get the slop. Or you're training for nothing, and you start thinking, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. It was really hard in my mind. But I'm like, no, I can't quit. I can't finish. I can't show my girls that stopped. I can't. And then I pushed, and I think the week after the race, I was still not okay. Like my body was really tired.
Because I remember texting you, and you're saying, I just got back from Desiree, and I'm not quite ready.
No, I'm not well. So yeah, that was probably the hardest race that I've ever done. Like my body really. So that's why, and I got lucky. I went to the roll down, not because I wanted. There's no way. 18. There's no way. But I knew, because I love the community. I wanted to be there and said, because I knew some of my friends in the clubs got them or will get them, because they got a very good slot. And then in the women, Ling, who is an athlete of purpose, and number 2 is Christy from actually Dubai, who came to this to race 1 and 2. So I was so, you have 2 of your athletes, and especially women, I'm the only man in the family, right? So, my daughters want to camp with Benoit camp. Yeah. They did a quick stop this morning with Benoit Benet, who is doing a lot with the kids in triathlon, and he was it's school holidays, so putting my girls into sports was there. So I was there to celebrate the support of others, and I'm like, I'll go, but there's no way. And then I got it. I was like, wow. So
and then you got to decide on the spot if you're going to take it. And
I trade for it. I got an opportunity to get it. Of course, I'm going to do it. And funny enough, I just told you that I was not going to do the expo, but we will probably do it. But for me, getting to the World Champs is almost more important than the performance there, because the level is really, really strong.
Yeah. And then now you got to the dance. It's just, it's now you're there. It's just everything else is just a bonus, I guess.
Yeah, no, it is, and then I think I had the chance to go in December for the first time in New Zealand. I did the expo by myself there. So we got a nice community as well in New Zealand for us. And then I came back in March, and I did that race already. That lake is stunning.
Oh, the swim for Taupo.
Oh yeah, well yeah. If you don't have the wind, and I can tell you, the swim in Taupo Lake was horrible.
And December is going to be the summertime, so it should be...
Yeah, well, summertime in New Zealand.
Yeah, I know.
18, 20 degrees.
I'm Australian, so yeah, I totally get it. But
March was hotter.
It's their summertime, at
least. March was less cold than it was in December. It was... I was actually quite cold during the expo. It was 18 degrees, and we had purpose. We do a lot of stuff for heat and humidity. So I was kind of freezing with my t-shirt.
You're too cool.
My upper mesh t-shirt. I was like, guys, do you have a jacket?
So actually, one question I had for you is, Purpose does the clothes and Simply Active does the nutrition, right? If there was one product, if the world is ending, you'd bring one product of each into the bomb shelter for your favorite product, not even your favorite product, one product that you think is the best out of both of those companies. Which would they be?
Okay, if you go to a banker,
no, maybe not.
Probably not gonna need to train that much.
Okay. Forget the bunker. What's your one best product?
It's my Swiss sense of humor. No, I would say our upper mesh running.
I have one of those. Wait a second.
Haha, nice. You want me to open my own stuff?
You can open it. It's
already open.
It's already open. So that's the hyper mesh running shirt you're talking about, right?
That's right. With the lovely cards.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's the one that I would take. It's the singlets that we do for running, or the triathlon suits.
Yeah, because they're super light and
that's what we focus on.
And cooling and.
So that would be for Purpose. And then from Simply Active, I will take the electrolytes from Pure.
Okay. The ground up fruit, basically, right?
Yeah, no, actually the tablets.
Tablets.
Because I think a lot of people underestimate, especially in Singapore. Ironically, didn't prevent me from cramping in this Desaru, but the amount of sodium that people lose, the amount of electrolytes actually that they lose in the sweat, even doing a walk, is way higher than any part of the world.
Even just stand
the sweat rate is way higher, and what they think that they're using to replenish themselves is, I don't have anything against those brands, but 100 Plus, Pocari Sweat, or which is actually more of an energy drink than really an hydration drink, because to get the same amount of electrolytes that in one of those pills of Pure that I told you, one pill, right? You need to drink 2 liters of Pocari or
which is not possible.
Which you're going to bloat, right? Yeah. And that actually too much hydration is also bad. That's how you create. If you drink too much, that's your digestive system.
You cannot cope, 2 liters
of water, and then it's also a lot of sugar. It's for 15 grams, I think, of sugar per 100 ml. So it's a lot that you put in your body. So that's why that product for me is probably the best. The one that I take in every single ride, indoor, outdoor.
Okay.
That's what I take.
So what next for you? Ironman 70.3?
Yeah, next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
So what are you doing next week?
Cairns.
Cairns?
Yeah, my wife is doing her first 70.3.
Oh, wow.
We're going to try not to get eaten by the crocodiles and sting by the...
Jellyfish.
Our pro Matker sent me a very funny pictures of the beach in that cove. I forgot something called, where we're going to swim.
Okay.
And there's a massive things, crocodile are present there, and beware of the stingfish.
Yeah, they probably have to legally have to put that down.
Yeah, they probably get it. But it's still like, okay, maybe it's going to make me swim faster, for sure.
Just think of it as the wildebeest and the lions. You can't be the sick You can't be the slowest, you can't be the smallest, because that's what the crocodiles are going to go for.
But true. So hopefully I'm gonna kick a little bit, and yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting swim because it's a wetsuit swim.
Yep.
To get protected by that. It's not because the water is cold or anything. So I'm actually gonna have to be very careful not to really hydrate yourself, because the wetsuit is definitely not something that is very comfortable to wear when it's 25 or anything like that outside. And it's not the same humidity as here, but it definitely
different type of heat,
it's a different type of heat and humidity. So I'm gonna have to be careful. So that's next in Cairns. For once, I'm not doing the expo, so I'm gonna work from there, of course. But we also have 2 of our pros at Purpose coming in.
Nice.
We should have had more, but Matt Kerr broke. Unfortunately, he's in Port Mac, so he got an operation, so he cannot compete. So we have Joe Skipper, who is coming to race, because Cairns is a pro race, right?
Oh,
it's
nice.
it's the only race in Asia, Australia, that have the pro series.
Yep. It's just part of the Pro Series.
It's
Joe Skipper, like the junkyard dog, right? He's
we have a limited edition with this.
Okay.
Purpose.
Okay.
And Mike Phillips as well is coming. Matt Kerr is going to come because he has a lot of athletes, and we also have a lot of the Enduro IQ crew that is coming from New Zealand, Australia. So it'd be a nice time to meet with the community and also all of our clubs. We have a lot of the Terra Melayu, for example, that are going, SWTC that is going, Cost who is going. So would be nice to, and for once, go back into Cyril, the athlete,
spectator
athletes, and then having to organize and we set up the booth and payment and stuff, and so that'd be nice.
And then what, KONA in October and Taupo in December?
One thing in the middle as well. So then it's blocked for KONA. I'm not doing any race. Langkawi Expo, October, of course.
But not racing.
Not racing this time.
Okay.
And then going to KONA, and then going to T100 Dubai.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But for Expo.
Yep.
Not racing. And then Taupo racing and probably Expo as well. We'll see. Costs are very high, so I don't know yet. But it's one chance for us.
Okay, man. And I guess how to get a hold of you? It's tridaddy_SG is your personal account, right? At Team Purpose for Purpose.
Team Purpose and Simply Active for Simply Active.
Simply Active Asia.
Yeah, Simply Active Asia.
For Simply Active. Okay, man. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'll see you out on the course, I guess.
Of course. Thank you so much.
No worries.